This is the Sports Hit List. By the fans, for the fans.
Episode 6 of the Mount Rushmore NBA series is here. Carl Coulange for the Sports Hit List, by the fans and for the fans. Let me introduce my contributors. Co-founder of the Sports Hit List, Mr. Ziggy Zig, my left hand. How you doing, sir?
Yo, what's going on, brother? Right hand.
Right hand. Yes, right hand. Sorry. We have the resident coaches in the building. Wom, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. It's raining outside, but we gonna get this done.
Mr. Numbers, after a hot debate with Anthony, people are giving you your flowers and saying you were able to stand toe-to-toe. How you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing now that I'm here, bro. I appreciate you having me like always.
We have Jordan Disappear Eugene. You know, we haven't seen him since the Rockets lost. We have to call it out there. That's your nickname, Jordan Disappear. How you doing, sir?
Listen, I didn't disappear. I was always here. I was always here ready for anything, but nobody came for me. So, you know.
All right, so we are here to discuss the six-man position. We went through our top five, the role player, the other, just as important as the starting five, that one guy, the spark plug off the bench. So your top four all-time in NBA history. Jordan, since this is your first Mount Rushmore, I'm going to give you the floor first. Who do you have all time?
Nice. I want to do an honorable mention of John Starks. I think he's a really important part of the Knicks offense and defense. I think he was really good on the Knicks as a six-man. You know, he took the Knicks to a championship back in '94, but of course, you know, my Rockets had to go and win that. But, you know, his story coming up, everything was great. But other than that, let's get into it. Number 4, I got Lou Williams. I think when you think six-man now in, like, traditional NBA, you think Lou Williams. You know, he's a 3-time six-man. He was really good with the Clippers, really good with the Raptors, really good with the Lakers. He was really good almost everywhere he is. He's a really good player, and he really brings a spark to that offense whenever he comes on. Number 3, I got Jamaal Crawford. I think Jamaal Crawford was like the 2000s six-man, kind of like when you think like six-man back in that decade, to like 2000, maybe until like Lou Will started to really come up. You really thought of Jamaal Crawford, Jay Crossover. You know, I really think he was really important. And number 2, I have Manu Ginobili. When you think six men, like this man is a 4-time NBA champion, you know, 2-time All-Star. He made the NBA third team 2 times, but he's a really good Spur. And he really was an important part of the Spurs 3 with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. And number 1 might shock you, Mr. C. You might like this one, but John Havlicek. I think he really revolutionized the six-man role. 8-time champion, Finals MVP, 13 times All-Star. Made the first team 4 times and was really important to that Celtics team, winning all those championships coming off the bench. Didn't start a game. So yeah, those are my 4 for the.
My man went and did some research. He went and did some homework, man.
There we go.
Some homework.
Listen, he comes from the school of Coulange. He has to. He knows the deal. We go with John Havlicek, Manu Ginobili, Jamaal Crawford, and Lou Williams. Ziggy, you're on the clock.
All right, so I'm going to go, starting off with number 4 for me, I'm going to go Vinnie Johnson, Detroit Pistons. Big-time scorer coming off the bench, playing alongside Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas. What can I say? He hit the game-winning shot against the Portland Trail Blazers. I believe, he scored 24 points on 15 shots in the playoffs at one point against your Boston Celtics, Carl. He went toe-to-toe with Michael Jordan in '89. And just a wonderful play. Played not both sides of the ball. Sorry, played the 1 and the 2. So
microwave. That was his nickname.
Yeah, exactly, the microwave. So whenever you see NBA 2K, you know that microwave symbol. Give credit to Vinnie Johnson. So we're gonna go there with that. Number 3, definitely gonna go with Jamaal Crawford. He was definitely a favorite of mine watching growing up. We know back and forth he was, you know, starting this, that, and the third, but he didn't really become a six-man fully until his 10th year. Once he became a six-man with the Hawks, he went on to win six-man of the year, went on to do it 3 times, and was making a lot of noise with that Clippers team with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. It's a shame that they didn't get a chance to pull away with a championship, but Jamaal Crawford, nasty handles, dangerous behind the three-point line when he was on. 4-point play, you had to be careful because he could get hit and still knock down the shot. So I'm going with Jamaal Crawford for that one. Number 2 on the list, I'm going to go Manu Ginobili, another favorite of mine watching growing up. Lefty was doing the Euro step before we even called it the Euro step. 11 game winning shots in his career. Big time player. Four-time champion. Been to the NBA finals 5 times. And he was still delivering at 40 years old, still being able to make a few plays here and there in clutch moments. Reckless player, we all know, took a lot of bad shots that happened to go in. But I'm going to go with Manu Ginobili, definitely a staple coming off the bench for the San Antonio Spurs his entire career. And number one, I'm going with Kevin McHale. Going with Kevin McHale for number 1. One of the greatest post big men in the NBA history. 3-time champion, played both sides of the ball. People don't talk about his defense. He frustrated a lot of players in his time. I can sit here and give you the numbers, but maybe if Andreas has him on his Mount Rushmore, he could do that for you. So those are
All right. So he goes Kevin McHale, Manu Ginobili, Jamal Crawford, and Vinnie Johnson. Coach, you're on the clock.
Man, I hate always going third or fourth, man, because guys already say all the guys that you already said, and now you're repeating names and you're trying to figure out how to say it differently. But we'll get right to it. Honorable mention, Tony Kukoc. He was a monster at the 6-man position coming from Europe, lefty, smooth stroke. We also what Jordan and Pippen did to him because they were a little nervous that he was going to come and run Pippen's spot, but he turned out to be a good player. Someone super underrated, Detlef Schrempf, Seattle Supersonics. He was a beast. He shot 50% from the field during his career. I remember watching those teams. He was just solid. A solid player. Made the All-Star game a couple of times. Made one All-NBA team. I think he got a couple 6-man awards. 1 or maybe 2. I'm not too sure about that. A lot of people to go through. Michael Cooper also. Lakers. He was an excellent 6-man. Showtime Lakers. Like Ant said in the argument before, he was a big reason why they won championships. Could defend on the guard position, the forward position. Fast breaks, could push it, finish, everything like that. Now to the 4. I'm gonna go. My 4th pick is gonna be Havlicek. John Havlicek. You gotta look at the history. You gotta look at the stats. You gotta see what he did. He had I would say there's a lot of people who probably are sexier picks than him, but his peak, what he did at his highest peak was just amazing. He was that good of a player. He wasn't the sexiest player. He wasn't like Crawford, who had, all the mixed moves and stuff like that. But he was a winner, and you got to give credit to someone who wins and who accepts a role as a 6-man on a winning team when a lot of people don't even want to accept those type of roles. So Havlicek is at number 4. At number 3, Vinnie Johnson, the microwave. That guy could score. People don't remember, that Pistons team had a great scorer in Dantley. They had a great scorer in Dantley. They had to make that trade to get Vinnie Johnson. And he became a guy who understood his role. See, Adrian Dantley didn't understand his role. He wanted to be the face. He was jealous of Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars' connection. When Vinnie Johnson comes in, he accepts that I'm just going to come in and get buckets. Nothing else. Bona fide score. All you got to do is worry about me scoring. So Vinnie Johnson at number 3. Here's where it gets tricky. My number 2 for me is McHale. Kevin McHale, he has every big man in the world knows, Kevin McHale. Post moves, up and under. Up and under was his move. He revolutionized the big man spot. And a lot of people, he's so good. If you talk to 8 out of 10 novice NBA fans, they think he started his whole career. That's how good he is. And that shows you how good you are as a 6-man when people don't even remember you coming off the bench. They just remember you being an impact player. Another one of those guys who at the highest level, produced at the highest level, backed up Larry Bird, backed up Robert Parrish, the Chief. And when you back those 2 up and you still have a name of your own, that says a lot about your what you accomplish in the NBA. And number 1, to my brother who played in Reggio Calabria, like I played in Reggio Calabria, Italy, Manu Ginobili. That's another guy who just took the position and made it cool. John Starks, like Jordan said, John Starks is my favorite player of all time. Like just pure favorite player because I'm a Knicks fan, grew up in that era of the 90s, wore number 3 when I played basketball. So I have a special affection for John Starks just like you. Really respect his game. Ginobili's one of those guys where coaches would tell you, you can't start, but we see you more like a Manu Ginobili. Like that's what they used to tell you. We see you like a Ginobili. You're a starter, but we just really need you to come off the bench. He understood his role. He was a scorer. We got the Euro. The Euro step was happening since the 80s. but
Right.
he made the Euro step popular. He changed the game, and he was one of those torch bearers along with Dirk Nowitzki for the international game. And let's not forget what he did on the Olympic stage, where Argentina got that gold medal in the Olympics. You know, that really stamped him as one of the best players in the world at that time. And he still came to his team, and when his time ended, was producing off the bench. So Manu Ginobili, my number one.
Okay, so coach goes Manu, Mikhail, Vinny, and John Havlicek. One quick fact about Mikhail. His first 5 seasons were off the bench, for those who may have not remembered that. Andres, you're on the clock, sir.
To piggyback off what Coach was saying, there's a lot of players in the NBA today and back then that they have an ego. And if you tell them right now, listen, I don't need you to be a starter, I need you to be a six man, they're going to be like, no, I'm a starter in today's league. So I think that six man should get recognized more. That being said, number 4 is going to be Mr. Andre Iguodala, 3-time NBA champion, 6-time finals appearance, won the NBA Finals MVP in 2015. In 2015, when he went to the Warriors, Mark Jackson asked him, Steve Kerr asked him, he was like, listen, I don't need you to be a 1 or a 2. Can you just come off the bench? He said, you know what? That's fine. Whatever we got to do to win. The main goal in basketball is to win, not to get up stats, not to put up 40 a game like Coach was saying with Adrian Dantley. Adrian Dantley was averaging 30 points per game on the Jazz. Did it result to anything? No. Number 3, Mr. Emmanuel Ginobili, 4-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA All-Star, 6th Man of the Year in 2008. He won the gold medal with Argentina in 2004. For those of you that don't know, the United States didn't win the gold medal in the Olympics every single year. In 2004, they actually won bronze, and Argentina won it. This is where it gets tricky. Number 2 is going to be Mr. Kevin McHale, 3-time NBA champion, 7-time NBA All-Star, 2-time 6th Man of the Year, 3-time NBA All-Defensive First Team. Before I name my number 1, the honorable mention is going to be Mr. Vinny Johnson, who they already talked about, 2-time NBA champion, and Michael Cooper, who was mentioned as well. Michael Cooper was a 5-time NBA champion, and there's a saying that says you learn something new every day. Michael Cooper won the Defensive Player of the Year in 1987 coming off the bench. There's your stat of the day. And number 1, Mr. John Havlicek, 8-time NBA champion. Like Ziggy said, give me the stats, I got you. 1974 NBA Finals MVP, 13-time NBA All-Star, 4-time All-NBA First Team, and he scored more than 25,000 points.
Okay, so Andres goes Hondo, Kevin McHale, Manu, and Andre Iguodala. Just taking a look at everyone's list, we kind of have similar names here and there. Iggy stands out. Does Andres make a case for Iggy, Coach?
I mean, I think he's a great pick. I mean, for me, it's like I don't think he had maybe 3-4 years at that 6 man in a really prime position. Andres,
Say
was
5
that 3-4 years?
Well, no, I mean
this year.
Well, 6, yeah.
But I don't count this year because I mean, let's be honest.
Okay, so
five,
you say 5 because the Warriors won
so
a
let's go
5-year
5.
run.
So that's a good sample size. But to me, it's a little different from when you were in your prime. For me, when you were in your prime, would you ask to be the 6 man? But I'm not going to argue because, like I said, if Andre sees him as being a 6 man for those times, that's okay. For me, I chose players that in their prime could have started on a lot of different teams and had to play the bench role and came off the bench as the 6 man. So like with Iggy, for me, I would think more Iggy of that was like his last result. Not last result, but he was on the way out. He had to take a bench role and he wanted to go to a good team and accept that bench role, which still takes a lot of maturity to do.
Okay.
But for me, for my list, it's all players I picked in their primes. Could have started on probably 20, 25 other NBA teams, but chose to run the 6 man in that position.
Ziggy, let me ask you this. Shaq likes to say the others help him win championships. Based upon this list, aside from, I guess, your John Havlicek with 8 championship rings, there are some, players, role players who played big parts in championship runs. I noticed that this panel really didn't focus on those. So is that not as important as the 6 man role?
I'm not going to say it's not as important, right? Because one of the individuals I was seriously debating to put on my list was Robert Horry. Just based off everything that he did in his career after the Houston Rockets. I believe he was starting with them, but everybody else, he was coming off the bench. But if you look at Robert Horry wasn't the 6th man on that Lakers squad, on several of those Lakers squads. I don't know who it was, but it definitely wasn't him at that time. And the name of the Mount Rushmore is the six-man Mount Rushmore, right? So I'm looking for people who fill that category. And I'm not going to discredit the others, but I'm looking for that first person that comes off the bench. Who is that first person that comes off a bench and makes the impact the minute they hit the floor? I'm looking for the Jason Terrys. I'm looking for the Bobby Jacksons. I'm looking for the old man Nick Van Exels, if you remember his game when he was playing with the Dallas Mavericks. I'm looking for those kind of individuals. So there you go with that.
All right. Jordan, with Chicken Will Lou, you really believe he belongs up there?
Personally, I put him there mainly because like when I think six man, like this is for me personally. Like this isn't like, this is just me. I just think whenever I think six man in like today's society, the first person I think of immediately is Lou Williams. Just because of what he's done, and I've seen him what he's done in Houston before, the playoffs came and we had to verse the Spurs. But I think like during the regular season, what I've seen from him in Toronto, in Los Angeles, for both Clippers, for both LA teams, in Houston, like from everything I've seen, I do think he deserves a spot up there, top 4.
Okay, Andres, what's so funny, bro? Go ahead, man. Say it. What's up? Because you have you have a beef with Lou Williams, don't you?
No. Listen, I like Coach was saying, there's certain players that can come off the bench and not have to score. The problem with Lou Will and Jamal Crawford is all they did was look to score. If you watch the playoffs from like the last decade, Lou Will and Jamal Crawford get picked apart on pick and roll defense, and they hunt him down on defense because they're not going to do anything. Besides that, Jamal Crawford and Lou Williams, their numbers dipped significantly in the playoffs. Their efficiency, dips significantly in the playoffs, and they're negative on one side of the ball. Can't have that.
You can't get mad at them for that though, because their claim to fame is scoring. That's what they did all throughout their career. Their claim to fame is scoring. They're not like a Michael Cooper, who you mentioned before, whose claim to fame was defense, right? We can't.
No, but I'm saying I'm not asking Lou Will to be like the defensive player of the year, but just like put a defensive effort. You know what I mean? Like if you watch Clippers game like this year, last year, that man was getting picked apart every time.
I know. Trust me, I remember.
Every time Mr. Sweet Wings Lou Will was on the floor, Dallas and the Nuggets, they're like, this is the guy that we're gonna go after in the pick and roll, and they tore him apart. And like Zig was saying, to add on, it's not the 6th, 7th, 8th man; it's the 6th man of the year. That's why this year the award was controversial, because Trez and Lou Will, they were the 6th and 7th man. In my opinion, Schroeder should have won it. Schroeder should have won it for me. That's a topic for a different day.
Okay, so let's decision time. Andres, out of your 4, who makes the list?
I mean, we've had a what's that called? A great dialogue. There hasn't been emotions. We've all like respected each other's answers.
Yeah, this is low key.
This is weird. This is very weird.
That's because we don't have Magic Mullen causing chaos up in here. And
also, it's 6 man too, so I don't think a lot of people get that emotion.
Yeah, but you know what it is though? I love this position. I feel like somebody said it here. This position doesn't get enough praise as it should. Coming into and those players, man. I always praise the others. Those guys hitting the key shots in the corner to get you a win. Those guys coming off, if your starting 5 is struggling, is the bench, and someone has to lead that charge. So I'm always in favor of the 6 man. As much as we love the superstars, we got to praise the role players too. Andres, who do you got?
I'm going to leave the pick for Coach, so I'm not going to pick Manu. So I'll just go with Mr. Andre Iguodala. I don't want to do that to Coach. So
wow.
Iggy. Wow.
Nah, Jordan. He did that. He's smart. He did that knowing Iggy was not going to get picked up by nobody.
Jordan.
I'm going to go Jamal Crawford.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
I'm saving you, Coach. I'm leaving that to you.
Yo, this gonna be wild. This not looking good.
Now we got a good conversation.
Yo, what's this on me now?
Yeah.
Yo, listen, I'm gonna be tight. If yo, I gotta go with Ginobili.
You going Manu, Coach?
Oh man, this is not right because Hondo and Mikhail should both be on.
They both should be on this list.
This ain't right. This ain't right, man. This ain't right. I don't know who. I'm not even call. Who is? It's your Celtics. Who you taking?
Gotta be.
It gotta be Havlicek. If we, because I mean, it gotta be Havlicek because of the amount of time he spent at that six-man position. Mikhail, like I said,
not only that, he's the Celtics all-time leading scorer, and he was off the bench.
Yeah, gotta be Havlicek. Yeah, gotta be Havlicek. Yeah, I gotta go John Havlicek, man. Sorry,
okay,
Mikhail,
so this is the
Mikhail.
list: Jamal Crawford, Andre Iguodala, John Havlicek, Manu Ginobili.
Let me tell you right now. Iguodala or Crawford got to come off for Kevin McHale. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, man.
One of them
what do you guys?
Off,
okay, so Jordan is out of the question for that. That means Andres, it's up to you. That means Iggy has to come
Iggy got to come off, bro. You know that's right, man.
You know what, man? Bro. Listen, the sports hit list has this fetish for screwing over Carl, just like Brett screwed Brett. So I'm going to take off Andre Iguodala, be the bigger man, and put on Mr. Kevin McHale.
Thank you, my brother.
It's only right. It's only right.
I appreciate that. I'll be sending something your way. I appreciate that, man.
So Brett did not screw Brett.
You said what?
Brett did not screw Brett.
Oh, I'm not even gonna get into it. Jamal Crawford, Kevin McHale, John Havlicek, and Manu Ginobili. Are we satisfied?
That looks about right. I don't like Crawford on there, but it looks about right.
So we don't like Crawford on there.
Crawford on there.
I don't like Crawford on there neither. And I picked him.
But here's the issue, though. He would have to basically put Lou Williams because Hondo's already on there.
Oh,
Manu's already on there. So it's either like if he moves somebody else off, it'd have to be Chicken Will Lou.
That's why I left. That's why.
Nah. Then
They're both poor on defense. So pick your point.
Right, but again, somebody else would have to move to get him off. Someone that would have to. It'd have to be Ziggy. You would have to pick Vinny Johnson, and
that's fine.
Jamal would have. Jordan would have to pick Manu Ginobili if you want.
Regardless,
wait. I think Vinny should be on the list. So what you say? I gotta let go.
Well, first of all, Jordan would have to be willing to give up his Jamal Crawford pick.
I'm more than willing to give up Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. So that means okay. So that means Ziggy, you're gonna give up Manu for Vinny Johnson. And then now Jordan, you're giving up Jamal for Manu.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, now this is the first Mount Rushmore where we actually try.
We have a dialogue.
The top four of who is really at the top with no emotions involved. This is who you think is the top, man.
Yeah. So So this is the final list now: Manu Ginobili, Kevin McHale, John Havlicek, and Vinny Johnson.
Yeah, I like that list. I like that list.
All right. Like that there list. It is. Okay. Guys, thank you for joining me here on another edition of the Mount Rushmore series. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. The final episode goes to the coach position. Coach, this is your field. We'll do that one next week. That's the final installment, episode 7. It's been fun, been great. And then we move along to pro wrestling. So again, please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Oh, what?
Thanks for watching the Sports Hit List. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In fact, do it now.